So very soon on Global Dokkan, we are going to be getting the highly anticipated EZA for the LR 5th year fusions. So in today's video, we are going to be looking at the STR LR GOGETA. And I would say between the two 5th year fusions EZA, I think Vegito is just a little bit better because Vegito has the potential to do a couple more supers than GOGETA. And because of the massive amount of defense they get on super, it does make the Vegito just a little bit better because of those 1 or 2 extra additional supers he's getting. But that's not to say Gogeta's bad. He's still an amazing unit. He's just slightly below Vegito, but still crazy. I mean, they got that 70% chance to dodge in slot 3 throughout literally the whole fight. Of course, they have that 1 turn of guaranteed dodge as well. So with the dodge built in, the crazy stats they're going to have, the build up, all the additional supers, both of them are going to have, the active skill, the stacking. It's just, there's so much to them, so obviously they're going to be very crazy. So I guess with all that said, we can just go ahead and hop right into it. On this opening rotation right here, we're going to be looking pretty good. We're going to have 4 out of 7 links because, of course, we get legendary power on super. We also have some support from the Gohan in slot 3. And we're here at 164k defense. So that's not the greatest start of turn defensive stat. Obviously, 164k defense, very low. But there's a lot to keep in mind with this guy. So as I mentioned before, he does have that 70% chance to dodge in slot 3. So if you're ever like uncomfortable with his defense or don't think you'd be able to survive, you could just always throw him in slot 3 and then have, you know, the 70% chance to dodge. So obviously, that's very useful. But also, he does get defense on both of his super attack effects. So on his 18 key, he gets 50% defense. And then on his 12 key, he gets 30% defense. And he does have built-in additionals. So, I mean, after he supers, the defense is definitely going to be ramping up. He also gets 100% defense when attacking as well. And he's got built-in additionals. So, dude, his defense is going to be good, right? I mean, I know start of turn, what was it, 160-something K? You know, didn't look that impressive. But once you consider everything he's doing on super and everything else in his kit, it starts to get pretty crazy. So before you transform with them, they're definitely a slot 2 or 3 option. You cannot run them in slot 1. And even when you transform with them, they're still better for slot 2 or slot 3, but you could get away with running them in slot 1, especially that first turn you like transform with them, because then they have that guaranteed dodge, of course. But after that goes away and you built up with them a little, I mean, you could still throw them in slot 1, but it is a little risky. I think if you take a super, you're still probably going to die. But, you know, of course, it all depends on how the fight, you know, is geared out and how many attacks you're receiving in slot 1. But yeah, look at that. We got the triple super. So right here, we're well over 600k defense. And I mean, 600k defense, and we could have the, you know, the 70% chance to dodge if we put him in slot 3. Definitely very good. Now, 600k defense is still dying in a lot of difficult events. But you do have to keep in mind, it's just turn 1. He is still stacking attack, though, so his damage is going to get higher and higher throughout the fight. And also, of course, they've got the crazy transformation. So that wasn't really his max potential, even just in base, right? He still is stacking attack, so of course his damage is going to get better from there. And because we got the triple super, our damage is actually going to be looking pretty crazy throughout the fight. Because he is stacking, I would say go full additionals with him. Because as I mentioned earlier in the video, they do get a lot of defense on super attack effect, even in their base form. So going full additionals isn't really going to be like bad in any situation, because obviously you get the extra additional super, you're getting the extra defense, and it's just going to help you out in slot 2 or 3. Because like I said, that's typically where you're going to want to have them, just because, of course, you know, they get a lot of defense on super. But yeah, their damage, I mean, in base, it's not necessarily going to be good. It can get alright, I guess, if you consider all the additionals they have. And I say they because both the Gogeta and Vegito have virtually the same design in base. They only really become different once you transform with them. But in base, I mean, like I said, they're both going to be very good in terms of their damage because of all the additionals they have. But outside of that, their damage isn't going to get, like, crazy. Like, the numbers aren't going to get crazy. It's just because all the tech they have, like, you know, the additionals. And then, I guess with the Gogeta, because he's STR, you've got the base 5 crit. So, of course, you can always rely on that as well. Then their damage starts to look impressive. So right here, we're at 140k defense. Unfortunately, we did lose defensive support, so this is just all by himself. There's no support on this rotation in terms of defense. So yeah, that's not really that impressive, but like we already established, he gets a lot of stats on super. And the transformation, so the Super Saiyan Blue transformation, is on turn 4. So I guess worst case scenario, you know, if you're in a really difficult event that hits extremely hard just out of the gate, you just got to throw them in slot 3, you know, rotate them off. Let's just assume you get them turn 1. You throw them in slot 3. Hopefully you dodge all the attacks. You most likely will. And then you get them, obviously, when they can transform. And then by that point, they've got that 1 turn of guaranteed dodge. So you could just throw them in slot 1, get all the super attacks off with them, build up with them. And then on the next turn you have them, obviously defensively they're going to look a lot better because you built up a bit with them. So, I mean, their design, very, very good, right? Like, their use is just extremely simple, extremely obvious, right? You know, you get them maybe the first turn in a difficult event. Like I said, you could throw them in slot 3 so they dodge, so you don't got to worry about their low defense. And then you get them in blue. They've got that 1 turn of guaranteed dodge. So wherever, you know, they're going to be fine in any slot because guaranteed dodge. And of course, it just works out. And also, there is kind of a trick you could do with them. So with their active skill, if you use it in slot 3, then you get the 70% chance to dodge in any slot you're in, right? So, you know, you have to do the active skill, like pop it in slot 3, and then you can move them in slot 1, and then they'll have the 70% chance to dodge. It's kind of weird how that works, but it's still very useful. Obviously, makes it so then they're just amazing for slot 1, because then with their reasonably high defense and then the 70% chance to dodge, I mean, you'll definitely be able to get away with running them in slot 1 in difficult events. But other than that, they're definitely a slot 2 or 3 like unit. I mean, because in slot 1, like I said, if you get super attacked and you don't have the dodge going on, whether it's, you know, that 1 turn of guaranteed dodge when you first transform, or you don't have the active skill so you can't do what I just mentioned, then you definitely have to run them in slot 2 or 3, just because the amount of defense you're getting is so significant that without that, all that defense from super, their defense is going to be, I don't want to say low, but it's around that, you know, 500, 600k mark, which with type advantage is good for taking normals, but type neutral or even taking a super, even if you have type advantage, is still going to destroy you, right? So it's just very specific with how you use them. But okay, we are getting the transformation off right here. So animation definitely looks really clean. It still holds up today. So right here, we do have the 1 turn of guaranteed dodge. Obviously, very useful. But I'm pretty sure we got our defense lowered. So yeah, 83k. All right, so obviously that's not that good. But again, we got our defense lowered. We haven't built up at all. We don't have any support. So I think all things considered, I guess that's not horrible. But mainly, again, we've got the 100% chance to dodge right here. So regardless, our defense is good because we're not taking any damage anyway. I guess, yeah, we could just throw Gogeta right there. And then Gogeta Blue will get all these STR key spheres. So unfortunately, not a 24 key super, but still very close. Or wait, no, actually it is a 24 key super because he gets a lot of key like when the turn starts. So I didn't even go over base Gogeta's kit. Sorry, there's so much to talk about with these guys. But I guess I'll go over Gogeta Blue's kit now because, you know, we're already transforming to Gogeta Blue. So he starts off on the first turn of transforming with the 1 turn of guaranteed dodge, like I mentioned. 8.6, by the way. And there's a lot else going on with that. It's not just 8.6, but we'll get to that in a second. So then he also starts off with 150% attack and defense start of turn. Definitely very good for start of turn attack and defense buff, right? And then he gets 5 key. He launches 2 additional attacks, each of which have a medium chance of becoming a super attack. And then he gets attacks effective against all types as the first or second attacker in a turn. So, like I just mentioned, there was a lot else going on with that super attack. So he's got 2 additionals, both have a medium chance of becoming a super, and he's effective against all types as the first or second attacker in a turn. So obviously having the 2 additional attacks is very good because then they have a chance of becoming a super. It's not just he has a medium chance of doing 2 additional supers. So then, of course, it helps proc the hidden potential system additional super. So that is very useful. And then with the super effective against all types, actually his normals probably will hit pretty hard as well. So I guess, you know, there is that to keep in mind. And then this guy also gets 7 key, launches a guaranteed additional super attack, and then has the great chance to dodge enemies' attack as the 3rd attacker in a turn. So actually, I never noticed that. He gets 7 key in slot 3. So that's pretty crazy, actually. So if you're struggling with key with him, I guess you could just throw him in slot 3. And then, of course, he gets that additional guaranteed super as well. So then, you know, just more defense, I guess. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of ways you could use this guy. If you want to use him as a floater, I mean, you could, right? He does build up, so I would say maybe build up with him first. So then you have that to kind of rely on. And then if you want to throw him in slot 3 after that, you could. But, you know, this guy also works as a slot 2 option. As we mentioned, with all the dodge he's got going on, in a lot of situations, he's going to work good in slot 1. So just a very diverse unit, right? Definitely very good with that. And then he also builds up, like I mentioned. So he gets 1 key up to 5, 22% attack and defense up to 88% with every attack performed. So that's really good. You've probably heard Dtruth talk about this a lot, but building up with every attack performed is much better than with every attack received, because then, you know, with receiving attacks, it can get complicated because you could get locked in a slot. You could just not receive that many attacks in a turn. And of course, it can just be, you know, kind of difficult. But with doing attacks, majority of the time, it works out better. And typically for units, the same could be said for like other situations. So you could get sealed and then you don't build up. But fortunately with this guy, he builds up with every attack performed. So of course, even if you get sealed, you're still doing the attacks, and then he's got all the additionals, so then most likely in one turn you're just going to be fully built up. And then of course it's just very useful. Because again, his build-up is with every attack performed, not every super attack performed. So additional normals are still giving him the build-up. Yeah, you could see almost 500k defense. So yeah, a big jump. What, last turn we had him, it was 88k defense, now almost 500k. Yeah, definitely pretty good. But there are a lot of other things to go over, so I didn't even mention this yet, but his super attack effect on his 18 key is that he's getting 50% defense for 3 turns. So he's carrying over a 50% defensive buff into the next turn. That is the main reason why I would say you want to keep him on main rotation and not float him off, because then obviously by doing that you're missing out on the 50% defense on the next turn. But then this guy also gets 50% attack and defense on his 12 key super attack effect. So then all additionals he's doing are giving him a 50% defensive buff as well. I mean, there is also the attack, but more importantly, the defense, right? So it's just going to get very crazy very quick. So right here, once we do our first super, what we're going to be, I think, close to 700k defense. And then we've got the additional super that's got a medium chance of, or we got the additional attack that has the medium chance of being a super. And then if we get that, we're going to be pushing 1,000,000 defense. And then the other one that has a medium chance of becoming a super. So with that, we'll be well over 1,000,000 defense. And then if we want to throw him in slot 3, we get the guaranteed additional super. And then with that, we'll be close to 1.5 million defense. And then we could get the hidden potential system super. And then that would put us at, you know, well over 1.5 million defense, probably 1.7, 1.8 million defense. So, you know, this guy's potential, very, very high. We do have the active skill right here. So I would show you that if I put him in slot 3, do the active skill, and then put him in slot 1, you know, I could showcase that he still has that 70% chance to dodge. But I'm almost positive we're going to kill right here, because this is just going to do so much damage. So let's go ahead and play this. Animation still really clean. Actually, for a unit that released, what, over 3 years ago at this point, his animations are really, really clean. So let's go ahead and play this. Okay. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. So, 28 million, guaranteed crit. So the crit wasn't just lucky RNG. This was guaranteed. 28 million. Yeah, okay. I mean, you know, and you get that badass KO screen. Okay, so I think you get, if you didn't believe me when I was saying 5th year fusions EZA were really good, which I'm sure a lot of you probably did believe me, you probably believe me now. 28 million, that was turn 7, so I don't think that's highly unrealistic. In fights, you'll typically be going to turn 7. We got pretty lucky with additionals in this fight, though, so of course, you know, we've stacked up a bit in base. We were fully built up right there, but still, 28 million. The crit was guaranteed. I mean, dude, that's pretty crazy, right? I don't even know what to say with that. Actually, that kind of impressed me. I wasn't expecting 28 million. I thought maybe we'd hit like 20 million, you know, tops, but almost 30 million damage right there. Definitely very crazy. So, yeah, Gogeta Blue, just utterly insane. His active skill is fairly easy to get as well, so it can be activated when facing only one enemy whose HP is 50% or less. So obviously the condition for it isn't that bad, but there is one thing you want to keep in mind. You can't do it right after you transform. It has to be the turn directly after you transform with him. It even specifies that in his kit. So, of course, that is unfortunate, but I don't really think it's that big of a deal. It gives you a turn to build up with him a little, so then the active skill can hit even harder. So I guess it kind of works out. But yeah, still, 28 million. Dude, that was pretty crazy. That's definitely the highlight of the video. I don't really think we can outperform that. But yeah, just with everything with this guy, with his teams, because you got to keep in mind this is a movie hero unit, which is arguably the best team in the game right now, and just how crazy he is. Yeah, it's just utterly insane. So I guess we can go ahead and cut to the Metal Cooler Core fight. We've been in the Legendary Vegeta event for a while. Sorry, I just got carried away, dude. It's just 5th year fusions, man. They're so fun to use, right? I mean, you guys will see soon on Global. It's just really fun units. I think this is the most fun I've had in Dokkan using them since the Gammas, and I really enjoy the Gammas. But anyway, with all that said, we can go ahead and cut to the Metal Cooler Core Red Zone fight. Alright, so we're here fighting Metal Cooler Core, and we have a really good setup for Gogeta right here. As you see, we do have him linked up next to his ideal linking partners. We're going to have 6 out of 7 links. We're here on turn 5. Obviously, we've got the transformation. We've not built up at all, so, you know, there is that. Keep that in mind. I'm pretty sure we will be fully built up after we get all, you know, all of our supers off and our additionals and all that. But still, just keep in mind, start of turn, he's not fully built up. So if we get really unlucky, we might not be fully built up on this turn. We are receiving a super attack, which I don't think is an issue because I'm like 70% sure we got our guaranteed dodge right here. I don't know. We have to have it right here because he transforms on turn 4. So if we got him on turn 5, that means this is our first turn having him. So yeah, okay. Well, a little over 300k right there, Gogeta. Come on now, you got to dodge for me. But yeah, we've got our guaranteed dodges right here. I just wanted to showcase this. We get to see him completely dodge the super, which, judging by how much Gogeta took right there, I mean, I'm assuming a super. Okay. All right. Thanks, Gogeta. I guess let's hop back in. Whatever. Okay, so we're back after that little unfortunate situation. Right here, we still have a very good turn for him. As you can see, we're going to get a 17 key super. We do get, I think, 5 key because we're in slot 1. So we're still going to get an 18 key super attack right here. But yeah, good turn for him right here. We do have the guaranteed dodge, so of course we're not going to take any damage. But still, I wanted to showcase this rotation right here. Once again, not built up at all. We literally just transformed. So 7 million. Not really the greatest, but considering, you know, there's a lot going on right here. We've got the additionals built in. We're effective against all types, which I guess doesn't really matter because we have type advantage, but still, you know, pretty good. Okay, we did get the hidden potential system additional normal. So I'm pretty sure we're fully built up, but yeah, doesn't matter. Look at that. All guaranteed dodge. I mean, you can't beat that, bro. That's just, that's really useful, right? Just really crazy. And defensively right there, what? Because we got the 88% from being fully built up, the 88% attack and defense. And then we got 1 super. We didn't get a single additional super attack, which I don't know how, but okay. So then we got 50% defense from that. So I think we were like 700, 800k defense. I mean, yeah, that's pretty good. We got guaranteed dodge. So honestly, our defense didn't really matter. It was just guaranteed dodge anyway. But yeah, I mean, very good, right? I'm just going to go ahead and cut to the unit breakdown. I mean, he's crazy useful. I'm still not over that 28 million damage active skill, by the way. That was so crazy. But yeah, let's just go ahead and cut to the unit breakdown. Alright, so here we have Ultimate and Supreme Fusion Gogeta. So starting off with leader skill, it is final trump card or fusion, category key +3, HP and attack and defense plus 170%. Pretty good leader skill. They probably could have made it 180%, but I mean, still 170% is good enough. You could still run that in difficult content. So for newer players or anyone who doesn't have a good lead for final trump card or fusion, definitely this guy would, you know, work as a good lead. So there is that. And then his super attack effect on his 12 key is that he's stacking attack and then raises defense for 1 turn, does colossal damage. He's got the exact same super attack effect on his 18 key, except he greatly raises defense, and then obviously does mega colossal damage. And then his passive is that he gets 140% attack and defense. He gets 4 key when attacking. He launches an additional attack that has a great chance of becoming a super in slot 1 or 2. And then he launches an additional super attack and then has a great chance of evading enemies' attack, including super, as the 3rd attacker in a turn. And then he also gets 100% defense when attacking. I know on the wiki it just says plus an additional 100% defense, but he gets that buff when he attacks. So yeah, a lot of defense on super. You know, additionals being built in is good because he gets more defense because he's getting more additionals. So yeah, just overall, very good in base, especially with that, you know, great chance to dodge in slot 3. And then his links are Sand Warrior Race, Fuse Fighter, Prepared for Battle, Over in a Flash, Kamehameha, Fierce Battle, Legendary Power. Really good link set. His categories are Fusion, Realm of Gods, Transformation Boost, Movie Heroes, Kamehameha, Final Trump Card, Powerful Comeback, Time Limit, Power Beyond Super Saiyan, Fuse Fighters, and then Superheroes. So obviously good category list as well. A lot of these teams are pretty top tier. And he's even helping a couple of them out, like Fusion, Powerful Comeback, Time Limit. Aren't really crazy, so I guess the fact that he's on them is pretty good. And then he does have the transformation into blue, so the condition for that is just turn 4, so extremely easy to get. And then once you do get it, his super attack effect on his 12 key, 50% attack and defense for 1 turn, colossal damage. 18 key is 50% defense for 3 turns, and then mega colossal damage. So obviously carrying over defense into the next turn is really good, especially when it's 50% defense. So he's going to have a pretty sizable defensive buff carried over into the next turn. And then on this guy's first appearance, he evade enemies' attacks, including super, for the first turn after transformation. So just 1 turn of guaranteed dodge. Obviously very good. He gets attack and defense plus 150%. He gets 5 key and then launches 2 additional attacks. Each have a medium chance of becoming a super. And then he gets attacks effective against all types as the first or second attacker in a turn. He gets 7 key, launches an additional super attack, and then has a great chance to dodge in slot 3. And then he also gets 1 key up to 5, 22% attack and defense up to 88% with every attack performed. And then he gets the guaranteed crit when activating the active skill or when key is 24. So yeah, I mean, the active skill got that guaranteed crit like I mentioned earlier in the video. And then if your key is 24, you get the guaranteed crit as well. So yeah, his damage is going to be so good. And his defense is going to be good as well. Just overall, just a good goddamn unit, right? Just very insane. And then his active skill is that he greatly raises attack temporarily, causes ultimate damage. So even though there's no effect in the active skill, like in the little box on the wiki, because in his passive it specifies he gets the guaranteed crit when using the active skill, technically his active skill is still giving him the guaranteed crit. So there is an effect on his active skill, it's just not right here. And then the condition for the active skill is that it can be activated when facing only one enemy whose HP is 50% or less, starting from the next attacking turn after your transformation. And then his link set does change, so now he's got Super Saiyan, Fuse Fighter, Warrior Gods, Over to Flash, Kamehameha, Fierce Battle, and then Legendary Power. And then that's pretty much it with him. So let me know what you guys are thinking of the EZA Gogeta Blue down in the comments. I know a lot of people really like this guy. I love him too. Again, 5th year anniversary fusions. Their design was just really, really good, right? They're really fun and they're really good. So can't really go wrong with them. But once again, that has been the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.